Hello and welcome. Today I'm joined by a very, very special guest, husband, father, coach for QPR and formerly Spurs, manager for QPR, former player of Swindon, Southend and Brighton, amongst others. Chris Ramsey, MBE, welcome. It's an absolute honour to have a key figure like yourself sat in front of me. How are you?
I'm very good. You're just giving me a wife, though.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were married.
No, no one would have me. No, I'm not married. But everything else is true.
As a former footballer, manager, and now coach, how does it feel to have the honorary title of MBE alongside your name?
To be honest with you, it was an honour to get that. For recognition for quite a long career, over 40 years. I mean, I was fortunate that Manisha Taylor, who works with us, she had nominated me, and I didn't realise what everybody was doing in the background. But no, it's actually an honour to receive that.
Have you felt the pressure of this title during any part of your career?
Not really, because I don't normally write it on my signature or anything like that. But I think when you do receive recognition like that, you have to really try and live up to it if you can.
Yeah. Many believe that the EFL Championship is one of the most challenging leagues to navigate, especially once you get past the top 5 leagues of the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A and Ligue 1. What is your take?
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone has said it's the hardest league, but it really is. I mean, you've got the quality of the teams coming down and the quality of the teams trying to go up, and obviously with the fight of the other teams that probably will never go up. So it's very difficult physically, and there is some technical excellence in it. So 46 games through the season, this season in particular has been murder. We've had a game every 3 days. And as you know, in most of English football, there are no pushover games. But the Championship, I think, is it's one that most people find very difficult to play in and manage in.
How are the players managing this season?
Well, we've been lucky because we've got quite a good, we've got a very, very good medical department. We've got Imtiaz Ahmed, who's like one of the top physios, doctors, and he's got a good team with him, and our injury list has been favourable to us, so that's probably why we've had the good run in the last few weeks.
You've also experienced managing at top established teams, so who would you say are the top 3 managers in the game today within the Premier League, and what makes them so special? I
think you have to look at it, and everyone's got a different way of managing it, and I think your budget and your situation makes it difficult. I mean, we can all say people like Pep, people like that are they've got all the money, but managing millionaires is very difficult. And when you're going in and actually improving players like he has done with the likes of Raheem Sterling and people like that, then you have to look at him not only as a manager, you look at him as a coach as well. So someone like him, I think it's been fantastic. I think at the moment, Scotty Parker has proven himself to be, a good manager. He's a young professional, and everyone looks up to him because he had a very good playing career, and he's worked hard to get his badges and stuff like that. So, there's 2 at least that you look at and think, how fantastic they are. I mean, obviously, you look at the Klopp. I think he's passion, and obviously I've heard good things about him as a coach, and to take a club like Liverpool, who'd been 30 years without winning anything, not winning anything, but not winning the title. I think he did very well, and I think he appears to be a very good man manager. So they're just 3 off the top of my head that I think have done very, very well in the last year.
Just going back to Scotty Parker, do you think he'll be able to keep Fulham up this season?
I think it's going to be very difficult. I hope he does. Because I think, and I hope they stick with him if he doesn't. I remember when he first started his badges at Tottenham when he was a player, and he's a student of the game. To be honest with you, and I really hope he does. I think they might just do it. I think they might just do it.
And who are your top 3 managers in the EFL Championship?
I'd have to say, what could I say? I can't not say ours, can I? Norwich have got a very good manager. I think that they've done well to stick with him because he has a philosophy, and even going down, they've kept the philosophy. They've kept the players that they've worked with. And I think he's done very, very well. I also think if you look at the Swansea manager, he's young. Steve Cooper, he's a young manager, worked with England, and he's brought a lot of his ideas to the senior level. So, it's good for people to see that you can go from coaching youth football to first team football. I wouldn't say seamlessly because he's had some hard times, but they've stayed with him, and now they're reaping the benefits.
Tottenham is in your heart, as you were an instrumental figure there. With this in mind, would you say that Jose Mourinho has brought a successful feeling, or do you think that Pochettino was too harshly dealt with?
Tottenham is in my heart because I was there for nearly a decade. I think, you can't deny the quality of Mourinho in his career and what he's done. You can't deny that the man's a winner. But as being a football manager who's been sacked, I would always going to have to say that I think he was harshly dealt with, Pochettino, because they brought him in to get to the Champions League. They got to the final. What more can you actually do? And and sometimes you get to the top of a mountain and then you have to rebuild again. And I don't think you always get the opportunity to do that, because once people have felt that success or got close to that success, they want it again. And to be honest with you, I think for Pochettino, I think it might have just come to the point where you've gone as far as you can at a club. And I think it was good in a way that he left at the time that he left, because he didn't undo all the good that he'd done over the years.
VAR, is that a help or hindrance?
I thought it was a help to start with. And I'll tell you the reason being is, when I was a manager, there was 2 or 3 decisions there were quite a few decisions that probably could have helped keep me in a job, because it's a thin line. You lose games 2-1, 1-0. It's a thin line between you getting a penalty and another team getting a penalty. So I thought it was a help. I think the way it's being used has become a hindrance. I think it's taken away a lot of the spontaneity. I mean, when you score, if you look at it now, people used to run away and celebrating, and I think it's taken a lot away from the crowd, because you score a goal and then you have to wait, and then the amount of time it takes for them to decide has just killed a lot of the atmosphere in football matches.
Yeah, that whole vibe, that whole energy, it's just left down. The players waiting nervously.
And I don't. And even if you look at the handball rule, I mean, how ridiculous is it? I mean, the ball just barely needs to brush you, and they're giving penalties away, and people are losing games and losing jobs. So although I believe it was important to change things and evolve things, I don't think this has been done in the right way. I think what the problem you got in football, we look to too many different sports. So we look at rugby, we look at cycling, we look at all these different sports, and we try and bring them into football, and most of the time it doesn't work.
Especially when there's no consistency as well, like the handball rule, for example. Because sometimes, they will say one decision, but then the same situation, and they'll say something completely different. So,
but if you watch matches today, every week there's a contradictory decision.
Exactly.
Somebody's handballed it, and then you look in another game, they've done the same thing, and it's not a handball. So
exactly.
It's the rules now. I think they've got to really brush them up, especially as the World Cup's coming up now. I think they've got to brush them up, and sometimes you're going to get it wrong, but I think the crowd like the excitement of the uncertainty.
Do you feel that VAR has affected the destination of the Premier League title, and would it be welcomed in the Championship?
I think any sort of mechanism where you're looking at getting points or dropping points will always affect the destiny of people staying up or people going down. The Championship is probably more of a harem scarum than the Premiership, you know. So I don't think it would help in the Championship if it's not polished up. I think the game is very, very fast in the Championship, and I think that VAR needs to sort itself out before it's rolled out to all the leagues.
Yeah. Chris, I want to ask you as well, what is the real likelihood of a young academy player making it to the first team of their elected club? Do you feel like there's a problem or flaw within the system?
Well, I've been very fortunate because I've worked at Orient where we had players that got in the team, and then I worked at Tottenham where, as you probably know, we were very successful in you know, blooding players into the team, and also getting players at games, getting players clubs around the country. And QPR over the last 2 years, we've had more academy minutes than anybody else. You know, 2 years ago it was Swansea and Man United, then us, and I think last season it was us. We had more academy minutes than anybody else. So the likelihood of making it would always stay the same in all football. You know, basically you're looking at 0.012, I think, in 1.5 people that try. So it's percent. So it means it's almost impossible to make it. You know, so the likelihood would always stay the same. You know, that it's always going to be a low number all the way through. And when you think about it, there's only, I think, 4,000 footballers. It's not a lot.
Not a lot at all.
So when people say, "Oh, this one didn't, the club didn't, this one didn't make it, that one didn't make it," well, it's like being an actor. What is the likelihood of becoming a top movie star or you know, a top singer? You know, if you was to look at the odds on that, it's the same in football. You know, people try out of, like I said, out of 1.5 million, I think there's only like 180 contracts given out a year.
Very small margin.
Yeah, very, very, very small. And the thing is, when you look at it, when you're young, you're competing with the people in your local area. If you play for Tottenham, say, you're competing with the people in London up until, say, 11, 12, and then you're competing with people in Europe, and then you get to 15, 16, you're competing with people from all around the world. So, you know, the competition's fierce. And then when you put into the mix that it's only 33% of players in the Premier League are English. So it makes it even less.
Is there a good age as well to join an academy? Because I hear different perspectives from different coaches. What's your opinion?
I don't think there's a good age to join one at all. I think they join too young, personally. So when you think about it, we're releasing players this season who've been at the club since they were 8, and now they're 20. You know, so all their childhood has been here. They've had their identity is built on being a footballer because that's all they know. You don't remember much before you were 8. You know, all you ever remember is you coming here 4 times a week and getting another contract, then getting your scholarship, then becoming a pro, and then all of a sudden you are now not going to be successful. You've been successful for, you know, 12 years, and then all of a sudden, what's your identity? What is your identity as a person? First of all, the journey coming backwards and forwards. Imagine not doing that anymore, and then obviously now you're not a footballer. So, you know, I would go back a little bit to like when I started off as a youngster many moons ago. You didn't go to a football club until you didn't go to a football club till you were 14, probably 14, 15. So you had played with your, you know, tournament football with your mates. You had played in the street. You had, you know, played for the school team, played for the district team. Now they don't do that. They don't play for the school as much. They don't play for the district. They don't play, you know, they don't go on trials for England, schoolboys and stuff like that. Stuff where it shapes you a little bit. So I think the academy system is great in some respects, but in other respects, I think it makes people professional too early.
You've coached top players in your time as well. So who would you say are the best 3 players to have come through your training or management?
To come through, you'd have to probably talk about people that you worked with when they were young. So, you know, at Tottenham, there were quite a few, too many to name. And then there's players I've actually worked with when I worked with England, you know, people like Steve Gerrard and Ashley Cole and the Kings and people like that. So I've been fortunate enough to not be able to pick, because you know, there's a lot of top talent that I've seen. Obviously, Harry Kane when he was, you know, a kid, and then when he got to the first team at Tottenham, he was a good player. There was a player called Ryan Mason that, you know, who had to retire through a head injury. That everybody, you know, he was a fantastic player, youth player, coming through. And then obviously people like Scott Parker, I worked with in England when he was a kid, and so, you know, fortunately I've been around it a long time, and I've seen a lot of good young players come through. Not all of them solely because of me, but a lot, you know, but I helped along the way, with a lot of the players at Tottenham and a lot of the players at QPR. You know, we had Ezzy, who plays for Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So he was here, and you know, we got a very good coaching team here. We got Paul Fernon, Andy MP, Paul Hall, Micah Hyde. We've got very, very good coaching fraternity here, and they all helped him to get to that level. So I've been blessed, been lucky.
Yeah. Too many names to just pick 3. What is your view as well about the dangers of fans sharing the close proximity that social media offers to football stars and football supporters, especially following news received by Black players?
Well, to be honest with you, as we know, it's disgusting what's going on. It's too easy to have that anonymity where you can say what you want. And what people don't realise, I see Thierry Henry made a very powerful statement over the last couple of days. You know, I don't know what the platforms are going to do, but something needs to be done, because we talk about the mental health of some of these youngsters, you know, and people say, well, why don't they just not go on it? Well, it's easy to say that, but we have to evolve with the times. This is what young people do, and they should have the right to be able to go on the platforms without being abused. So I'm not too happy about it, but I don't know what we can do unless the people who run the platforms actually try to find where these people are, and there's you know, greater prosecution for them. Because we all talk about hate crimes. Crime's a crime. Every crime to me is a hate crime. But when it comes to the point where you are actually threatening people and abusing people as well because of their ethnicity, it's something that doesn't sit well with me.
Do you feel like the government should police this area, or should the social media platforms do it themselves?
Well, I think it'd be like anything. Somebody comes into your shop or your workplace and behaves in that manner, it's down to you, isn't it? It's not all down to the government to do it. So first and foremost, the platforms have to find a way of taking these people down, or finding them where they are and giving them some stiff sentences so that it deters others. And then obviously, because it's a public forum, the government probably does need to get into it somewhere. But I just think it's just too easy for people to keep on rehashing different names all the time, and they're never going to get found. They're never going to get found because they just put anonymous names. So I don't know what can happen. I think Thierry Henry made a massive statement the other day by saying that he was going to come off it. And I think when you have profile people doing anything, people tend to follow. So hopefully that will cause a stir, and hopefully people will follow his lead in order to see if there's going to be any change.
How far do you think we've come in regards to diversity in senior football related jobs within the Black, Asian and minority ethnic community?
I don't think we've come as far as we should have done. I mean, when you look at it now at QPR, we had some, I would say, some issues about taking the knee. Les Ferdinand made some outstanding statements about, look, we want to take the knee, and we think it was a good statement to start with, but what has been done since? And so, you know, a lot of people hide behind these things. They'll take the knee, but not really know what it's for, or not really believe that they need to make a change. So it's just a symbol. So as far as you're looking at jobs for minorities, although people have had jobs, but where we've come from, I think it's been a very, very slow change here. Very, very slow change in this country. If you look back 20 odd years ago, when the Rooney Rule supposed to come in, Ricky Hill, who's got a book out now, so we should all get it because it tells you this is the man that brought the Rooney Rule. He first of all introduced the country to the concept of it, and he's almost like Bosman. People have forgotten that he was the one that brought it. He's not had a job in the whole time. So I think it's been very, very, very slow. And when people used to first talk to me about it, they say, well, the black coaches or the Asian coaches, they need to go and get their badges. But that was 20 odd years ago. People have got their badges now. They've over 1,000 qualified minority coaches in and around the game. And the representation is very low and very poor.
We have to just keep pushing on and keep getting the message out there, and hopefully change will come.
Well, change has come, but it's not enough change, and it's slow. And when you think about it, they talked about the voluntary rule, you know, and they're going to review it in 3 years or 4 years. If you get it wrong and then you do another voluntary code, then that's 8 years of someone's career gone. Just gone. So at the moment, we're starting to look at the black coaches getting together and talking on a forum on a regular basis. And sometimes I send them a bit of history, because most of them are young. They're in their 40s or late 30s. People come to the end of their career, and I'm trying to say to them, look, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to send you, you'll read it and it will read like it was written last week. But it was written 20, 25 years ago when I was your age, and nothing has changed since then, you know. And some of the articles I send them, they think it was written last week, because it says the same things.
Yeah.
So we have to keep pushing forward. But I think this evolution stuff is not going to help us. There has to be radical change, because we've tried the evolution. And I've been fortunate, because I've stayed in the game for 42, 43 years. I've been very fortunate. But most people are not that fortunate. It's hard enough to stay in the game anyway. But if you look at what's gone on over the last 20 odd years, the change has been a lot of there's been a lot of lip service.
Not enough action.
No.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your time today, Chris. It's been an absolute honour speaking to you.
No problem. Thank you very much. And listen, hopefully we'll cross paths again.